Years of rebuilding, months of work and a last-minute leak before launch, Labour has finally unveiled its tax plan, returning to its faithful friend or foe, the capital gains tax.
It is time for New Zealand to take that step.
He is Mr. Flip-Flop. It is all over the place.
He sold 4 houses last year.
This is a dangerous policy.
I'd say there's a long time to go before the election.
Kia ora, ko Craig McCulloch aho, and te purongo tōrangapū mō tēnei wiki. Welcome to Focus on Politics. The anticipation and speculation surrounding Labour's tax policy has been building for months, ever since the leader put all options back on the table post-election. Party members have been debating the best campaign course, whether to pursue a wealth tax or a CGT, and their respective parameters. Come Tuesday morning, the day after Labour Day, Chris Hipkins revealed Labour had settled on the latter.
I think it will be the most progressive change to New Zealand's tax system in a generation. Moving to a capital gains tax, as many other countries are well ahead of us in doing that. The Australians made this decision back in the 1980s. It is time for New Zealand to take that step, and I'm very proud to be campaigning on it.
Labour has landed on a targeted CGT covering only property, both commercial and residential, but not the family home and not farms. That means not shares, not KiwiSaver, not personal items like classic cars, boats or artwork. The family batch would be hit, as would rental properties making a loss.
My message to New Zealanders is very clear. If you don't own a rental property, you don't own something other than your family home, you don't own commercial property, you won't pay a capital gains tax. That's 90% of New Zealanders.
The tax would be set at 28%, in line with the company tax rate, and would kick in from the 1st of July 2027. Any gains before that, so-called valuation day, would not be covered, only after, and only at the point of sale, not inheritance.
So let me be clear. The tax will only apply to commercial and residential properties, excluding the family home, and it will only apply to profit made after the 1st of July 2027 when those assets are sold. Nothing else will be affected. Nothing.
Labour estimates the CGT would raise an average $700 million a year over 4 years, with every dollar raised dedicated to healthcare. Indeed, most of the revenue would be swallowed up immediately by Labour's new Medicard initiative, also announced on Tuesday. Labour's health spokesperson Aisha Verrill proudly displayed a mock-up of the new card, which would entitle everyone to 3 free GP visits a year.
Targeting is failing in our health system, and New Zealanders are missing out. That is why we need a universal entitlement.
Every New Zealander will benefit from better access and free access to their GP using their new Medicard.
With this card, we'll start building a health system New Zealanders can be proud of again. Every New Zealander will have access to care, and that is guaranteed by this card. Rich or poor, town or country, we are all in this together.
It was a slick sales pitch, taking with one hand but giving with the other. You almost wouldn't know that this was not how the party had planned its grand policy debut, that the announcement had never been meant for Tuesday morning.
Not today. No, it wasn't going to be today.
The party had been gearing up to launch the policy later in the week, but rushed it forward after RNZ was leaked details over the long weekend. It left Labour scrambling to contain the damage. Chris Hipkins abruptly cancelled his morning media round and pushed out the policy to everyone at 5 o'clock in the morning.
I'm not sure how the details were, some of the details came to be in the public domain this morning. Quite a lot of people over the period of the policy development have had their hands on it at various points. I'm very proud to be talking about it now and to be making this announcement now. If it transpires that it was deliberately released by somebody and that we find out who that person is, they won't be a member of the Labour Party anymore.
A stern warning to any detractors or agitators, though he also made clear he wasn't interested in a witch hunt.
I've been around politics a long time, and I know that sometimes things make their way out into the public domain before you are expecting, and it's how you respond to that that really matters. My focus now is on getting out there, explaining what our policy is to New Zealanders and selling it to them.
That is sensible. History shows such hunts can cause more harm than good. Just ask National about Jamie Lee Ross. Still, the Labour leadership will be nervous. The party has been highly disciplined since the election, without the leaks or sniping seen the last time Labour was in opposition, or National for that matter. Leaks can quickly breed a culture of mistrust, and tax has been a fraught talking point for the party, a long and bruising tug of war with strong feelings on all sides. While the caucus vote was near unanimous, it was not unanimous. There were a few holdouts, and the party's ruling council and policy council were more divided again.
My message to everybody in the Labour Party now is this is our policy, this is the one that I expect everyone to get behind.
Chris Hipkins needs everyone in the party to now put those differences aside and to unite behind the selected proposal. He cannot afford any distractions in trying to win over the public, given the difficulties Labour has encountered before.
All policies have an element of political risk associated with them.
This one perhaps more than most. The Labour Party knows all too well the perils of talking CGT. In 2011, Phil Goff stumbled over his costings during a now infamous town hall debate with John Key.
Just tell me where the money's coming. Show me the money.
The curse returned in 2014 when David Cunliffe this time tripped up. In the same debate, same location, same opponent.
Do I pay capital gains tax on? That's my question.
So here is something that we won't do.
Just answer the question.
We won't say...
It's a simple question. Do I pay capital gains tax?
By 2017, Andrew Little had learnt the lesson and killed the idea of introducing any CGT after the election. But when Jacinda Ardern took over, weeks out from voting day, she opened the door again. And then shut it again, when the party's polling suddenly stalled.
There certainly has been an environment of scaremongering.
Instead, she punted the issue to a tax working group chaired by former Finance Minister Sir Michael Cullen, which ultimately recommended, yes, a CGT, a fairly broad one. Ms Ardern could not get the numbers from New Zealand First to pass it, and so she too killed it, for good, as long as she was leader.
Not because I don't believe in it, but because I don't believe New Zealand does.
Chris Hipkins, of course, took over in early 2023, theoretically reopening the conversation, but only for a brief window. With the party's popularity sliding, he shut down his team's dreams and ruled out introducing any wealth tax or CGT.
Now's not the time for a massive, radical new tax, particularly given the current economic situation the country faces.
But that was then. Chris Hipkins says now is the time for a CGT, unlike all those times before. He thinks the public appetite is there, swayed by the pandemic-driven rise and then fall of house prices, and the increasing advocacy from mainstream voices, like the OECD, IMF, Treasury, even some rich listers. The latest RNZ Reid Research poll gives the starting position: 43% in support of a CGT, 36% against, and 22% undecided. Not a decisive mandate, but not a dismal one either.
I'm not sure. I think there's for and against, but I haven't quite worked it out.
Overall, I'm in favour, but then I'm not a wealthy landlord, so, but then most New Zealanders aren't.
I think it's a good way to get unelected.
Don't think it makes any sense personally.
Step in the right direction, kind of uninspiring, but I'm more in favour of it than not.
I think it does make sense economically because we pay so much tax in PAYE.
It's a great idea.
I think it's very weak and unambitious.
As Shania Twain once sang, that don't impress me that much.
Unsurprisingly, property investors aren't thrilled by Labour's proposal, as spelled out by their Federation spokesperson, Matt Ball.
All Labour has done is chosen a group of people that can be marginalised and can be taxed without, they hope, fear of electoral retribution. I think what they misunderestimate is there's a lot of people involved in this sector and they will not be happy to be targeted in this way.
I'm saying to those mum and dad investors, do you want your kids to be able to buy their own home?
It is evident that Labour's tumultuous history with the tax has fed into its design and framing this time around. For one, Labour has sought to soften the blow by pairing the tax with that Medicard scheme, an easy-to-understand, tangible benefit which touches the two issues named most important by voters, the cost of living and healthcare. While some may question the universality element, it's hard to find many opposed to the notion of free doctor's visits.
There are so many little things that people go to the GP for that people don't go to because they can't pay for it.
I think that'd be a good idea, yeah. I'm all for it.
That would be good because I do spend a lot of time going there.
The sector itself is cautiously in favour, but concerned about capacity. Here's Dr Luke Bradford from the College of GPs.
This is designed to increase demand for people to see their doctors more often. Currently, we can't meet the demand that's already there. We're struggling to recruit and retain our healthcare teams, and there is nothing in this policy that state specifically how we will manage that, how we will bring more doctors and nurses into the workforce to see these patients.
We're confident that this plan, running over 3 years, will be able to be met within the current workforce. And of course, Labor wants to see more GPs trained in the long term, and we'll announce that policy later.
Labour's also sought to reduce the political risk as much as possible by keeping the tax small, simple and sellable. It seems that's what gave it the edge over the less conventional and more ambitious wealth tax option, which Labour's finance spokesperson Barbara Edmonds feared would see too much wealth fleeing over the Tasman.
And in my professional opinion, a wealth tax would not be able to work unless our closest economic partner, which is Australia, moves to a wealth tax.
We opted for a capital gains tax because it's a simple change. It brings us into line with so many other countries around the world who already have a capital gains tax. And the advice that we had, particularly from some of our internal tax experts, was that was the most practical, readily implementable solution for us.
The benefit of seeing other countries in the world and how they've designed their capital gains tax and how over time politicians have changed it, we've decided the most simplest way for this to be applied is through a very simple and targeted way, which is property.
And tax experts agree it is a fairly simple tax as far as CGTs go. Craig McCulloch is a professor specialising in tax at the University of Auckland and a former member of the aforementioned tax working group.
This is the cleanest, simplest, most administratively simple form of capital gains tax. So all the complexities that we looked at in the tax working group were private companies, shares in public companies, all of those things are taken off the table. This is really a very simple extension of tax to an asset class which is readily and consistently valued and which would be very straightforward in comparison to the others.
But even the simplest of CGTs can have vagaries. The question of what is a family home, for example. Labor has borrowed the definition currently used by the Bright Line test, which requires a person to live in that home most of the time. It means people who own just one property but live in a rental, perhaps in another city or with their parents, will still be hit by the tax. There will also be complexities around the treatment of commercial properties, like how to separate the building, which would be taxed, from the plant within it, which wouldn't. Be sure the government parties will try their best to trip Labor up on the details.
Taxing our way out of the mess that we've been in, that Labor gave us, more spending, more borrowing, more taxing, isn't the way forward. That's what created the mess.
We need to stop blaming sectors of society for our problems and selling the snake oil solution that if we pull them down a little bit, we'll all be better off.
This kind of approach is just rife with loopholes and problems.
National's Nicola Willis, in particular, was unrelenting in her attack.
Same old Labor, tax more, weaken the economy and tell New Zealanders it's good for them. Far from what Hipkins and Edmonds have claimed, this is a broad capital gains tax. When you add more taxes, you add more cost. This is a dangerous policy. This is a reckless policy. This will put New Zealand's economy at risk.
National MPs see this as their opportunity to turn around the polls. They think Labor has benefited to date from a lack of policy, and that voters will be spooked back to the coalition now they can see the true alternative. National has a potential problem though. Its leader, Christopher Luxon, has made considerable capital gains on his personal property portfolio, and Labor is not afraid to bring it up.
If Christopher Luxon wants to have a debate about our personal finances, bring it on.
He is Mr. Flip-Flop. It is all over the place.
He sold 4 houses last year and made more money tax-free from doing that than he made in the Prime Minister's salary, which he paid tax on every dollar of.
It's actually not about me. It's actually about Kiwis that own a beach house, Kiwi mum and dads that have a rental property that are going to get taxed. It's about every business.
Why should he be able to make more than $600,000 in 1 year from flipping properties?
Well, I haven't flipped properties.
Whilst the people who go out and work hard every day for a living pay tax on every single dollar that they earn.
I don't attack his personal finances. I wouldn't expect that he would attack mine.
The government parties are also fanning fears over what the CGT could balloon into if the Greens and Te Pāti Māori got their hands on it as part of any coalition negotiations.
Today they've just opened the door, and we know the door will open wider and wider in a Labour, Te Pāti Māori, Greens coalition.
It's an argument which has been aided by the Green Party's co-leader Chloe Swarbrick in her response to the tax this week, calling it just a starting point.
I think the Greens have been really clear we want to go a lot further and a lot faster, and New Zealanders deserve that.
This is the policy that we are campaigning on, and this is the policy that we will implement if we form government.
We can do a wealth tax. We can tax the wealthiest 3% in this country, and we could increase and improve and fund universal basic services to have the country that all New Zealanders deserve.
Labor will vote in favour of the policy that we are campaigning on, and we will not go beyond that.
I'd say there's a long time to go before the election.
I don't think the smaller parties should call all of the shots.
Any political party in this place needs to be willing to listen to democracy.
You don't have to be like Christopher Luxon, roll over and let Winston Peters and David Seymour tickle your tummy. I'm being very clear that Labor will support the policy that we are campaigning on.
It's a strong line, but as the Greens say, the election is still a fair way away. That leaves plenty of time for Labor to sell its proposal, but also for its opponents to chip away at it. The CGT has proved to be Labour's curse time and time again. Will this campaign be the one to break it? That was Focus on Politics. I'm Craig McCulloch. Thanks for joining me. Matiwa.